The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by HotMovies.com. Try out some ethical, paid-for porn for free with none of those hidden fees or secret subscriptions when you sign up at HotMovies.com and use the promo code MANWHORE. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
What's up, fan whores and whoreheads? This is Billy Presida, and you are listening to the Man Whore Podcast. I want to rejoice in this beautiful weather we've been having, these string of beach days, because those of you who follow me on the Instagrams know that I have been heading on down the nude beach on Sandy Hook in New Jersey quite a bit. Bought myself a season pass. Just, there's just something super relaxing about going to a beach, stripping down, and just laying out there or making new friends with other naked people. It's just a good time. You just got to be sure to, cover the bits and pieces properly with sunscreen. That's what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to talk about. But, every once in a while, that guy says a thing and it crosses a line where it breaks my fucking brain. And if you're the type of, Man Whore Podcast listener who doesn't enjoy when I bring up politics, sorry, but not sorry. This is important. You think the people who support all the racists are also going to be on board with not kink shaming and promoting sex positivity and comprehensive sex ed and sex worker decrim? You think they're on board? No. Of course, that shouldn't be the reason that you care, but just if you want to know why it would ever potentially overlap with a podcast where I'm having on a porn star, Naomi Banks, that's a reason why it may overlap. Also, because it pisses me the fuck off. He basically subtweeted 4 congresswomen who are all black or brown, telling them to go back to where they came from. And I hope that most of you by now have learned that 3 of those 4 women were actually born here. So not really sure where he wants them to go. And this is one not all of y'all may know, because I actually didn't even really realize it till a friend pointed out to me. But we have foreign-born Congress people who just are also happen to be men and white. Of course, and they also dissent openly against Donald Trump. Of course, Donald Trump didn't say shit about Connecticut Congressman Jim Himes, who was not born here. Didn't say anything about Representative Don Baer, who is also just an old, kind of has a George H.W. Bush look to him. But yeah, he was born outside of the United States, and he dissents against Trump. But Trump didn't say shit about him either. And these are some of the tools I want to make sure you know when people try to tell you that Trump's tweets weren't necessarily racist. I'm not part of that outrage culture that just shouts Trump is Hitler constantly. But that speech, rally, chat thing he did on Monday, when he tripled down on his comments, that felt like when I read about the young early Hitler, it felt like that. What makes me, what Trump says and tweets and shit doesn't make me nearly as mad, and not even mad, but sad, disappointed, depressed. It's not what he says, it's that people don't seem to care. Yeah, it's in the news cycle right now, and so, you're going to see it on all the things for the next week or two, but then it's just going to float away again. Remember he said, yeah, you can just grab women by the pussy. No one cares. It just moves on, and I don't want to. I want it to matter. I want there to be a point at which you will no longer fucks with your friends who appease this. I want there to be a point at which where you genuinely cut off family. Where you say, look, here's the comment. And even if you tell me you don't like the comment, if this is not the thing that makes you say I'm done with the guy, I'm done with you. I had to text a friend because there was a guy I met at a party one weekend at her place, and he was saying that what Trump tweeted wasn't racist. And I was like, look, I am not. And he's one of those guys, he just likes to fucking debate. And I can recognize it because I fucking love to debate. But I just don't like debating someone's humanity. And the guy's like, oh, what? It's not racist. It's not racist. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm done with you because I'm not going to debate whether or not it's racist. I will compassionately explain it to you if you truly don't understand. Because I know I've needed people to compassionately explain some shit to me. And I will need someone to do that again on who knows what issue in the future. But I was like, I'm not going to debate you whether or not it is. So I was like, okay, I'm done with you. But I had to text my friend and be like, look, I don't know how close you two are, but I want you to know this is where he's standing. Here's a screenshot. If you fucks with him, I can't fucks with you. There has to be a fucking line. Because if you still fucks with him, even if you say, oh, those are terrible comments, those are racist comments, but I'm still voting for him, you're complicit with racism. Even if you want to make the argument that you yourself are not racist, sigh. You're complicit with it. And I think that's the new thing we have to tell people. We have to stop calling people who don't think they're racist. Tell them they're complicit in racism. They're going to have way less of an argument against it. Because now they don't have to defend their own actions. They got to try to call the guy they support not racist, which it's starting to become increasingly difficult to. Fine, don't call them racist. Call them complicit in racism. Because I think that's the new you're racist. That's got to be the new thing to be afraid to be called. It's not enough to be afraid to be called racist. You got to be now scared socially to be called complicit in racism or supporting racists. Start saying that to your friends. Start seeing what those reactions are. And start listening to what those arguments are. And then see if those are still people you want to be your friends. Make your friends uncomfortable. Make your family uncomfortable. Stop accusing people of being racist. Start accusing them of being complicit in racism. Because I have never been scared about this Trump. I mean, maybe initially when he won, but like, I have never been scared personally. I've been scared on behalf of other people. I've never been scared personally about this guy until that. And not just that, but the thing he did Monday morning, that talk, that speech. Because, hey, friends, allies, remember, Hitler put allies in concentration camps too. And sometimes they didn't even get that. They just got the bullet in the brain. Just remember that. Start getting fucking brave. Make shit uncomfortable. This week on the show, I've got on Naomi Banks, everybody. And, well, I can't wait to share her with you all in a bit because I can't wait to get as far away from this topic as possible. But first, we're going to do show dates, people. I'm not even going to put the drop in there. I'm just going to be like, we're doing show dates because there's only one show date you need to know about. It's August 3rd here in New York City. We're doing a Man Whore Podcast live show. I'm going to have stand-up comedians get heckled by their exes. And then after each set, we're going to sit down. We're going to talk about why they didn't work out. It's going to be, if you enjoyed the Chicago live show, which I hope you did, I got a lot of really fun feedback on that one. But if you enjoyed that show, you're going to love this one. So I want to see you out there if you live in the greater New York area. Okay, now I want you to go get your tickets. Okay, you go get those at manwhorepod.com/tickets. Is cheaper online than in person. Of course, the live show is part of an entire weekend of fun events, ManWhoreCon, and we do have weekend passes still available. We have 11 weekend passes available. I'm not making up that number. Actually set a number because I only bought a certain amount of swag bags, so we got 11 left. And if you want to join a bunch of wonderful sex-positive listeners, go to manwhorepod.com/weekend. And you'll see both of those links, both those URLs in the show notes. But I would love to see y'all there August 3rd at Karma Lounge for the live show. Here's what else was a blast. I was on some podcasts recently. It's been a while since I've told you, hey, go check me out on someone else's thing. But I've had some pretty fun, dope, awesome conversations recently on other people's shows. I want you to go check them out. Again, these names will be in the show notes, but I did a couple episodes of Clit Talk, which, although it's called Clit Talk, we talked a lot about masculinity. Then I was on Keith and the Girl. I actually am just getting back from recording that. Always a fun time with Keith Malley and Chemda, both past guests of the pod. And I also recorded an episode of the Hot Mess Comedy Hour, which I happen to know we have a lot of crossover. We got a lot of shared listeners. We talked about Billy's upcoming dalliance in some sex work that I haven't quite told you all about yet. So if you want to learn about it first, go check out my episode of the Hot Mess Comedy Hour. That should be out soon. Yeah. Also, congratulations to Andrea Allen, friend of the pod. We love Andrea, right? My dear friend Andrea Allen, she released her very first comedy album. It's a stand-up EP, very, very funny stuff. It's called Gonzo. And she debuted at number 1 on iTunes. We're very proud of her here at the Man Whore Podcast. Go show her some love. And if you need to be convinced, stay tuned to the very, 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 very end of this episode. She's letting me play an entire track from the EP. So you're going to get to hear a little sampling of her stand-up tidbits at the end. Before I get to my guest this week, Naomi Banks. We did, because last week was the Chicago show, so there wasn't really an intro. And the one before that, I was still getting comments in. But that Byron Sadiq episode, I know it's 3 weeks ago, but where we talked about pickup artists, I got so much engagement, feedback, commentary, and it wasn't all what I expected. I expected a little bit more of just more anti that stuff. But I was genuinely surprised at the number of men who have done pickup, who have been part of the seduction community, and who listen to this podcast, and who reached out to me to share the positives that they've gotten from being a part of all that. Now, as you all know, I think pickup artistry is trash. I'm just fascinated by the subculture of that trash. But I want to read a few comments that I got about that episode. These are some comments that come from our Patreon-only Facebook group, The Champagne Room. We do a weekly episode comment thread, so these are some comments coming from there. This one comes from Ariel. She says, wow, whoa, this episode. Byron made me feel really unsafe. I have heard every single word he's said verbatim by pickup artists who have successfully picked me up. My first threesome was with 2 guys who I later find out had been PUAs. The threesome was fun, and in the end, they were willing to be very open about their pickup stuff with me, which at the time made me feel less bad. But I definitely felt I had been played. Honestly, this episode brought me back to memories of the entire thing and made me feel even more duped and stupid for having fallen for the game they were playing. The opener, like literally my friend and I are having an argument. The negging, I can't remember the word, but the tactic for dealing with resistance, all the way down to the bullshit of it actually being a way to build confidence for men. It's like, find another way that isn't turning women into your trophies, please and thank you. That's fake self-improvement. But you know who made me feel really safe? You did, Billy. By the way, I didn't pick this comment because she compliments me, but I do, tend to read the comments in full. You did, Billy. I was really close to turning it off after being about 20 minutes in, but I really trusted you, and my trust wasn't misplaced. Since I trusted you and your ability to see through the objectifying BS and to stand up for it, and not let Byron's statements just slide by, I was able to listen to the entire episode and hear what Byron had to say. Because listening can also be really scary when it brings back some pretty demeaning memories. Oh, and finally, I call bullshit on his statement that you can't tell who a pickup artist is. The summer after I was picked up by those guys, I spent my whole rest of my time in that city sabotaging strangers trying to pick me up. A favorite memory was physically correcting a guy's stance as he was talking to me. There's this whole thing about standing at a 3/4 angle or something. He was so flabbergasted that I had figured him out. It was a great moment. Okay. This next one, thank you, Ariel. This next comment comes from Andrew. He says, conflicted about this one. On one hand, I think anything that can encourage confidence and the ability to deal with social situations with somebody you find sexually attractive is a good thing. I know when I was dating, I'd look online for advice and guidance on what to say, what to do, where to go, etc. I would like the ability to go into a bar and confidently strike up a conversation with a woman. Sometimes you need an idea in your head about what to say. On the other hand, the culture itself sounds very unhealthy. The idea of negotiating last-minute resistance sounds very much like persuasion and could be considered borderline rapey. It should be about more than getting the numbers up. I don't know. I think my stance is that I like the idea of pickup, but I don't like the culture or context within which it's used. Yeah, that whole last-minute resistance thing, it's not... It's not that it could be considered borderline rapey. It is borderline rapey. Let's call things what they are, because there are people calling Trump's comments, racially charged. It's like racially charged isn't a thing. I eat a cookie. I never say it's deliciously charged. The cookie is delicious, and Trump's comments are racist because he is racist. Okay. Settle down, Billy. Deep breaths. Goose fraba. Josh writes. Last comment I'm going to read is on the Byron episodes. Josh writes, oh boy, riveted. But that's probably because early in my journey, I dabbled in the community too. It was out of desperation that stemmed from very, very extreme loneliness. It broke me out of my shell. It got me to advocate for myself, think outside of the box for starting relationships, and express my desires and sexuality. Which is really the key to not being friend-zoned, by the way, as the seduction community would say. There were some parts that I liked, especially the seduction community. He says now seduction community, which I guess he means like the present-day seduction community. There were parts that I liked that kind of mirrored sex positivity, but ultimately, I was kind of disgusted by the community as a whole. Too many in the community really were all about getting laid and the number of women, quantity over quality. I didn't stay long or get very far in the community, but the further I went, the more predatory and manipulative the techniques and methods became. However, this was not representative of the whole of the community. Some of the neo pickup artists used seduction as a tool for love and connection, kind of similar to sex positivity, and they were much more healthy about their approach and their respect for women. Ultimately, I'm grateful that it broke me out of my shell and eventually led me to the sex positive world, but I certainly cringe when I think of certain parts of it that I was exposed to. Some of it is, or was, rather ugly. Whew, boy. Wow, that was another long one. Let's okay, you know what? I'll read this. This is a brief one. I'm going to read this message I got just because it's kind of fun and cute. I got a message from a guy, Michael, and all he asked was, do birthday gangbangs happen often? And would it be too much if the bangers just sang happy birthday for the bangee? Well, Michael, I think that's a very reasonable request. I don't have an answer for you. Do birthday gangbangs happen? Definitely. Is it too much to ask for a song? I mean, honestly, if I was invited to a gangbang and all she wanted was us to sing a little tune, yeah, sure, dude. Whatever I gotta do to let me put my cock in your warm space, you just tell me give me the lyrics and I'll do it. My very first blow bang bukkake thing, it was Christmas time, and this was beautiful because this is how I could tell she's the one who wanted the bukkake, and that it wasn't just like a thing she was doing for her man. before we got started, it was like 5 of us, and she said, "Hey guys, I'm just if you don't mind, just, I have a little request. If it's okay with you, if it's okay if not, but like just it would be great for me." If you would, if I could get a picture with all the cocks under the Christmas tree. And we were all like, yeah, lady, you're about to suck all of our dicks. You can get yourself a picture under the tree like a happy little Christmas slut that you are. So come on over. Who's got the camera? Yeah, man, just ask them nicely. I don't know. Before we get to Naomi Banks, I want to play a little teaser clip. This entire month, I am releasing bonus episodes on Patreon from a failed How to Throw a Kick-Ass Sex Party episode. I interviewed a bunch of members of Hacienda, people from the core team at the time that we recorded it, just to be like, how do you throw a kick-ass sex party? Last week, we heard Jennifer, who taught us how to decorate. And tomorrow, I am releasing a bonus episode with Beth, the queen of Hacienda. And I just wanted to give you a little taste, a little snippet. So I just let's hear a little bit from Beth of what it's like to wear the crown.
I have been dubbed by people throughout the years, and in an official ceremony, I'll have you know, as the Queen of Hacienda. Now, even to this day, after it's been a few years of this title, I still blush and I still feel a little embarrassed, but I've definitely also really embraced this title. I am a very outgoing, outspoken person. I have an opinion. I like to say it. I like to be very involved with decision making. And so it's quite a fitting title, really, for me to be called the Queen. And I embrace it in a way that is, kind of makes me blush, but also I find it very honorable to be called that, and I find a lot of responsibility in that title, and I take it seriously. So yes, I'm the Queen of Hacienda, and I'm very proud to be called that.
Are people too intimidated to hit on the queen at one of these parties?
I have no idea if people are intimidated by me. I would say some people are, just because everybody's different and I'm loud and outgoing. So some people are probably intimidated me, but maybe those aren't the right type of people to hit on me anyways. I don't know. So I really can't say. I'm sure all sorts of people have all sorts of different ideas about me, and that's just fine.
And you get access to all of those bonus episodes when you sign up today at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. And I'm going to do the briefest of fan whore appreciation moments, because this is the time to say I love showing appreciation to the fan whores who make the Man Whore Podcast possible by keeping a roof over my head and condoms on my cock. I want to give a shout out right now to Gareth Jensen, which is surprisingly a very common name. So I could not find anything really specific about you. But the one thing I do know is that you're a loyal fan whore, and I'm proud to have you as a patron. Thanks so much for your membership. Shout out to Jay Naris. Not sure if I'm saying that last name right. What I do know is, oh my God, you're purty. You're such a cutie. It was so wonderful meeting you in Oakland at the Manwhore Podcast live show out there. You got to come on out to ManwhoreCon next year. We want you here. Thank you for your support, and a shout out to Michael Oliverdian. I hope to see you at the live podcast here in New York City, August 3rd. All right, this week's guest, Naomi Banks, everybody. Naomi Banks has explored many facets of the adult entertainment industry. She has not done client work, like what you would call scene work, in porn in many years, but she still continues to be just professionally sexy. That's what I'm going to say. Naomi Banks, professionally sexy. This is a bit of a shorter one. She had a time constraint when we were at the AVN Awards in Las Vegas back in January. So that explains also why this is a longer intro, so you could have kind of a full episode. I would hate for the show to end before you got to work. Let's listen to me with Naomi Banks. Oh, it would not be a Man or Podcast episode if I didn't, with a porn star, if I didn't give you a little sneak peek of what it sounds like when you listen to that star in a scene at hotmovies.com, everybody. Yes, this longtime sponsor of the podcast, hotmovies.com, an ethical and affordable way to hashtag pay for some of your porn. And you don't have to pay some sort of like recurring subscription. It doesn't have to cost you $25 a month to get off, people. You can just buy a bundle of minutes, and whatever many minutes you use watching the porns, that's how many minutes come out of your account. And minutes are as cheap as like 10 cents a minute. That's super affordable. You know, I get in a rush sometimes. I maybe only need like 70 cents worth. So go to hotmovies.com, get an account today, and whatever package you sign up with, Hot Movies is going to give Man Whore Podcast fans 20 extra minutes on top of any package. Just make sure you use promo code MANWHORE when you sign up at hotmovies.com. One more time, go on over to hotmovies.com, promo code MANWHORE, and then you can go watch, Naomi Banks do My Baby Got Back, Volume 45. That is so much back, everybody. And now on to the show.
Yeah, I mean, because I always thought that believed that women were sexy. Mm-hmm. I think the very first time, like right before I did on film, my girl a threesome, I did it in my personal life first.
Yeah.
For the very first time.
Did you do it because you were like, you knew you were going to do the scene, so you wanted to go practice? Or did you just happen to also do that at the same time?
No, it was for practice.
You were like, I got this scene and I want to be good.
Yeah, I want to be good. Yeah, because really, I never tasted pussy before.
Yeah?
Like literally, like I've never like tasted mine. Like I've never played with myself before porn.
Uh-huh.
Like literally.
And you were like, oh, I don't want the camera to catch like just a reaction wince.
Yeah, like I don't know how that tastes. Like, so I had my very first threesome like probably like a week before I had my first threesome on camera.
Yeah.
And it was okay. I liked the on camera better. I had it with Alexa Silver and LT. That was good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Have you ever tested anything else out before shooting it? Like you knew you had to shoot it and you wanted to practice?
Yep, anal.
I would imagine, yeah.
Anal.
You hadn't had anal before in your life?
No. I was like, my first 5 years in the industry, I was like, hell no. It's like a do not enter sign on my ass. Like that's only for shitting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then once I did it, it feels so good. That's like the best orgasm ever.
You know what? I agree. Also, but it's something in me while we're doing this. This is going to be so much more fun. Literally, me packing for AVN was actually just searching around. It was like, where's the medium butt plug? I can't fucking find it. I can only find the big one. Not in the mood for that this week.
Actually, when you were walking around here, I was looking at your ass. And I was like, oh, that's a nice ass. See, yes, I said, that's a nice ass there.
Yeah, a little booty on me.
Strap on and packed in my bag somewhere.
Well, for me, actually, my one thing I am saving is, and actually, I semi-believe it enough, I merchandise it. I have T-shirts that I sell to say, I'm saving pegging for marriage.
I love that.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, I do. You have a lot of women that want to experience that, but they're afraid that if they do that their man is gay. That's what they usually think, is that if I do that to my man and he enjoys it so much, he would no longer want it from me and want the real thing.
Right.
That's what a lot of women think. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not the case. You can't do it, with some people, and that's just what you do in your bed, and that's just what to get you off. Yeah.
And it's not just women, some women who think that. There's a lot of guys who think that too.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey man, the process, it's not a switch that turns you gay. It's just a button that makes sex awesome. It's like, it's great. That's the next T-shirt. Not there yet, but working on it. No, this is a good time to talk. I say I'm chatting right now with Naomi Banks. Hello. Yeah. Have you pegged in your personal life? Is that a thing you like to do?
No. Well, okay. Let me say this. Me and one of my girlfriends, he was a really good friend of mine. It was a dare. It was literally dare because he.
You guys didn't just go like, "Hey, go streaking." You were like, "No, pegging." Like,
no, it was a dare. I did this radio interview. I was in Chicago, and he was with me, and we were doing a radio interview, and I was talking about my first strap-on scene. I was talking about my very first strap-on scene, and one of the interviewers, the guys from the radio, was like, "Oh no, that's gay." And so he, in return, said, "No, that's not. I think that's just of a sexual act or whatever." And that was like, "Oh really?" Right. Oh, really? So after that, we were talking. He was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." He said, "But I don't think you can do it." So when you tell me you don't think I can do it, now it's on.
What kind? That's a weird. No, he just wanted that to happen because he knows you can do it.
Yeah.
What woman can't peg a guy? That's
I think
what bad hips do you gotta have that you just can't physically do it?
But I get that question. I have another friend of mine that he always said, "You don't know how to do it." He said, "You don't know how to do it because I don't have a dick. You wouldn't know what to do with it." So evidently, I flipped him over, lifted his ass up so where it was right here, and started to, and he jumped and like.
He was just negging you into tricking you to pegging him. I think that's all that happened. Last weekend I organized 2 gangbangs because my life is weird, right?
Oh, okay.
And at one of them, we had a friend of mine who she offered to host it at her place as long as she could fuck the chick with a strap on.
Okay.
And the chick was down with it, so I was like, all right, cool. The great part about having a chick at a gangbang fuck the girl with a strap on is you get to watch like a hot woman fuck a woman with a strap on. Mm-hmm. The bad part of it is you now have a woman who is setting a standard none of the men are going to reach in that room. Mm-hmm. Holy shit. My friend, it's just insane. Her hip action, her thrust, she like fucked her so hard that we legitimately were like the first couple seconds like this is hot, and then it was like, oh fuck, I'm next. Yeah. It's like no, like I purposely went before so I didn't have to like follow that. Mm-hmm. That's like trying to like go on like after Chappelle drops in at like a comedy club. It's like you don't want to necessarily follow that. How are you gonna? No one's gonna care what you had to say, and it's not gonna be as good.
Right. The thing is once you put on that strap on or that dildo, it's like you instantly think you got a dick. Like seriously, like the very first time I put on one on camera, I was in the corner, like literally stroking my cock.
Yeah.
Like I literally like felt it, like some way I felt somewhere I felt some kind of power that came over. Like I'm thinking like, from all the guys that I fucked, now I got.
It's my turn. It's my time.
And you get this way, you want to beat your chest and, let up and that was
like, I'm gonna avenge you, Hillary, right now. I'm gonna take it back.
And then the hip motion come in, and then you get to doing all kind of tricks. Oh my goodness, yeah. Mm-hmm.
When you said you like tested anal with like outside, like you wanted to do that first somewhere. Like, who do you test that? Like, do you test that with someone like known? Do you test it with another porn star, but just like kind of recreationally, or
no? Well, I did it with my baby, with my baby boo. I did it with him. First off, that's something that we, wanted to share. When I knew that's something that I wanted to do, I wanted to learn with him.
Also, I'm sure he was like, "Oh God, finally she's shooting that scene. Now I get to." It's like, yes, I volunteer as tribute.
Right. I think he's probably had the best because probably everything that I wanted to do before camera, I've done it with him first.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you've like tested like that besides anal and the eating pussy or?
No, that's the only two. There was no way I'd be doing a gangbang with him.
Sure.
No.
Well, I found interesting about you, like, I was like starting off just as a runway model. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't mean to be like just a runway model, but like you started off as a non-pornographic runway model, and then you end up here. It's like that's an interesting journey. You know what I mean? Like it's like when I used to sometimes on occasion I still will interview like a really big comedians, right? And everyone's path is always different. Kevin Pollak's path is different from Joe Rogan, different from Pete Holmes. Fucking whoever, Dono Rollins, whatever, and they all had a different path. And I talk to more and more people in the adult entertainment industry. It just also seems like, hey, yeah, we all had a different path. You know, there's no one way to get to Vivid. It's just
yeah. The funny is everybody has their own story.
Sure.
Different story. And as you said, and with this path, I would have never thought in a million years that I will be right here. Right now, you wouldn't have never thought that. I come from a very religious family. My uncle's a pastor, deacons and all that other stuff. So you would never think that I will be doing anything like that. Even with stripping, I think.
I mean, everyone who's raised religious, I assume, will end up like that, to be honest with you.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I think so many people, if unless you go all in on the religion, like you're going to buck back against that at some point.
The thing is, I never watched porn. I never watched a day of porn. The closest thing I watched was the Cinemax Showtime thing.
Oh yeah, that softcore bullshit.
So that's what I didn't even know. So remember that song with Little Kim used to have, that Heather Hunter, Janet Jack Me song. What was the name of that?
I am
that
so
song?
uncultured when it comes to music.
Really?
So, oh yeah, like
How you from New York and don't know Little Kim?
I'm just happy I know who Lil Kim is. Actually, weird side relation to that is that my dad. So she got super broke and fucked up by the IRS.
Oh shit!
She got like IRS came for her, right? And she had this big ass house in Alpine, New Jersey, and I grew up in North Jersey, 5 minutes. She had a big mansion like near where my grandma's like house was, and she was like trying to figure out a way to like find the money to pay off the IRS, do the whole thing. And someone that recommended my dad, and my dad's not even an accountant. My dad's just like a fucking little Goomba Italian greaseball who just like figures out a way to make shit happen. Hey, okay, like I got a guy and we're gonna do a thing. So my dad ends up like just in a room with Lil Kim, not really knowing who that is. And he's like, all right, so here's the thing. And he's trying to like convince her to sell the house. And she was like, I'm not selling the house. He's like, you gotta sell the house. And he's like, my father is getting into a fight with Lil Kim over selling a house, but then apparently they made up and like took pictures backstage of that thing. And I think my dad probably like doesn't even remember who. He's like, yeah, she's famous. I'm told. That's my little Kim tie-in. But sorry, you were saying.
But that, like, I didn't even know who they were until fast forward when I got into the industry and I started doing my research and I found out who they were. I was like, oh, okay. So me going into no one would ever thought, like literally my family thought either I was on drugs or I was going through some kind of crisis or whatever. It was, but then I love it.
Did you ever drop the religious upbringing at some point? Did you ever buck back, or do you still consider yourself a fairly spiritual, religious person?
I think I'm very spiritual.
You
I've
dropped
always
the dogma.
been. I've always been very spiritual. I believe my journey is here for a certain reason. What it is, I don't know as of yet, but I think this journey it calls for me to go through here. People are like, it's you crazy. You just a whole. No, that like literally, I really think it is. I think because we live in such a judgmental world. You understand? And people say because you do this, this, and this, you don't believe in God or you don't believe in a higher power or you're a bad person. And that's not the case. You understand? It's hard. What I didn't do is what I always tell people. I don't play with God. So I don't go into his home, his house. Especially because you have the preachers and whatever, they have their judgment. So I'm not getting ready to go in there and play with them. I pray in my own space, in my own home, to my God. And that's how I leave it.
And what was your God look like?
Honestly, I don't give him a face anymore. I don't give him or her a face anymore.
I was about to say, is it a him?
No, I don't give it that. It's just the energy.
Yeah.
It's some kind of energy, of a positive energy that I feel, that I know that's around me. Sure. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Like in that, so I don't give it a face anymore. because once you start giving it a face, then you start to kind of box yourself in. That you're not able to grow. You're not able to grow in certain ways. So. Yeah.
Wait. So you said your father was the uncle of the pastor.
My uncle was a pastor.
He
is a pastor.
Is a pastor. Yeah.
He is a pastor.
And so when did you feel like you started dropping the whole like church stuff and kind of leaning more towards spiritual?
Probably a good 15 years ago when I got into an argument with the pastor of the church.
Okay.
Over a scripture that, he translated one way, I translated another way. He told me I was wrong. I thought I was right. I still think I'm right. And
do you remember what it was?
I don't even remember exactly.
You just remember
what
you were
was.
Right though.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know what it was. Yeah, but I was right.
Yeah, that was it. And then from then on, I just knew. I've always questioned it in the beginning. Anyway, my mom used to always say, you question everything. I do. I question everything, and so from that on, I just knew that I know that it was something that's gotten me out of a lot of things that I've put myself through. And I just leave it like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What was like the I guess the sexual like the sex ed like upbringing for you, being in such a like not just being in America where we don't teach it, but being in a religious upbringing?
Oh, don't do it.
Don't do it.
You do it, you get pregnant. Really, my father told me. My mother wouldn't even tell me about the birds and the bees or about sex. My father actually told me more about it than my mother did. Now my mom, she just don't do it. You're not supposed to do it until you get married. You save that for marriage and things of that sort, and that was it.
But you are the one but you question and you think and you're skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can't imagine you were like accepting that very simple, just don't do it.
No, I didn't. I didn't. And that's why I went to, ask my father, because he was more open. He wasn't the one that was going to church all the time. My mom was the one who was going to church all the time. So, like that. So you can kind of more, I can more talk to my dad about it versus talking to my mom about it, because she was more, stand up, pretty dressed, that sort of thing. And you got to obey, your elders and all this other stuff, whatever. Well, my father was like, no, you be who you are. These are the things that you need to watch out for. These are such and such. You're going to have those feelings and those emotions in you. And just know that it's okay to have those things, but just be wise on who you share those things with. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's dope. That's dope. Was Dad the first one you went to like?
Well, I had a lot of aunties. My mother is the oldest of 12 kids, so I had a lot of aunties that I can actually talk to as well. I mean, they were like 10 years older than me or something like that. I trust them, but then me and my dad, he had a great relationship with me and my sisters and stuff like that. He like that. Like your friend, like he hang out with you. My sweet 16 birthday party. We had a party and the police came in and they thought my dad was one of the kids. Literally, so. Mm-hmm.
Well, when you started doing porn, was he like the first one of the parents to tell, or?
No, actually, I actually got into porn to help pay for him, help pay for his illness. Okay. He was diagnosed with diabetes 1. Okay. They were actually wanting to amputate his feet. And so for me, that's the reason why I got into porn, to help pay for the medical bills for that. He did not know that I was in the adult industry. Not even until
he didn't know where the money was coming from.
No, he just, he knew it was coming from, because I sing and I dance and I was always in the industry, modeling and all that stuff. So he just thought I was rich and I was helping my mom, from there. So to my knowledge, he never knew that I was in an adult industry, but my mom knew. Sure. But my dad never knew. Mm-mm.
Wait, so your mom, the one who was like, no, stand up straight, go to church, obey, wait till marriage. But she knew.
But she knew.
What was that process like?
I was outed by some cousins to my grandmother, which me and my grandmother had a very close relationship. And from there, then that's when all the family knew. Because honestly, like I said, I never watched porn. So I didn't know anybody in my family was watching porn. I didn't know that was their secret, that they did. And they watched porn and they saw me in one of their favorite movies or whatever. And they told my grandmother. And then from there, they called me here in LA and asked me what was going on. And I told them. I did it for like a good year before they found out. So I was like sending money back home to help them pay for their mortgage and their rent. They just thought that I just hit it big, like I was doing, TV and stuff like that. Because I was still doing mainstream. I was still walking that fine line.
The mainstream modeling.
Modeling and acting on TV and stuff like that. So they didn't know the difference until my cousin outed me to my grandmother. And then from then on, it was like a spiral of everybody talking, well, what's going on, whatever. And then I finally told my mom and explained to her, and she never watched porn. So her first question, like, are you guys really having sex? And I said, yes, mother, we're really having sex. And then she said, are you being safe? And I said, yes. And my grandmother told me, well, I know you have a bigger plan. You just be safe. I'll keep praying for you. And there's no one else to judge you but God. And they left it like that. Until this day, my mother is still the same way. She said, I know you. I know who you are. Just keep trusting in God and keep doing what you're doing and be the best that you're doing it.
What was that? Was that like the first phone call? When you found out, like, I don't know if it's a text, it's a call, but you find out like, okay, whatever cousin, hey, so-and-so told us you did this thing, like, and you're like, well, mom's going to call, whatever. Like that, is there a panic? What's the first feeling?
It was a panic. It was a panic because I'm the oldest out of all the grandkids and I'm the good girl. Like I'm like what everybody wanted to be like, doing everything going in order. So when that did, I did go into a panic. I called my sister. She was kind of upset because she knew, and she was upset because I didn't share that with her on what I was doing, for a whole year. It kind of trickled down. I think I talked to at least 12 people on the phone, of my family members, to let them know that I was okay and, and everything like that, that I wasn't in a awkward situation. Because really, honestly, when I was doing that for that year, they knew something was different because I stayed away. And usually I'm very in your face type of, family. And I kind of stayed away to kind of do my thing because I didn't know how to explain what I was doing. Can you understand? You understand what I'm saying? It's
Well, you don't know. Look, hey, I make a living talking to like my exes and being sometimes naked on the internet. Like, yeah, I had to explain. One day, I got a phone call from my dad once, like in the first like year or so doing this, and he goes like, "Billy, did you do a porno?" I was like, "Now I gotta try to explain this thing." And he also, he and I share a name, so like, you know, Google. You know, his business partners find my horse shit, and you know, so like I get that, like you gotta find the way to frame it to them, how to sell it. Like I'm a sales guy, like you gotta figure out how to sell it and how to pitch it that they can like, so it's palatable. So
so they can relate to it in a certain thinking. Them coming from religion and all of that is shame. But then when you do your research, like Christians are the biggest consumers of porn. Yeah.
Utah loves porn. And yet Utah also is trying to like pass laws to prevent porn from even being in the state. Like, Utah's the one that wants to do the one where like you'd have to register your name and shit to be able to have access to like the porn sites within state lines. Wow. It's like, let's see how that goes. Like, that's wild. So wait, how did you end up framing it to them to make it palatable?
You know, I think my mom asked me, you know, well, why did you start? And I told her, I said, when you called me and you wanted me to come back home, you know, to get help, you know, I didn't want to come back. I knew what goals that I wanted to do, you know, for it, not putting the blame on her, but I knew it was something that I had wanted to, you know, I knew that was a quicker way for money. And that's what I told her. I said, but in the process, I have a bigger plan, you know, for it. And I just need you guys to support me on it. I'm grown.
It's like, you just got to trust me.
Yeah, like that's it. You have to trust me, you know, with it. And that's all that they can say, you know, that, you know, she's not on drugs. You know, I've never really had a problem with her, you know. She's grown. Yeah. I just want to know she's safe. And I did pretty good for myself. I was on Howard Stern my very first year, so.
Killer.
Yeah.
Did you have Lainey that first year too?
No, I didn't.
I
got Lainey in the end.
If anything, right? Even more impressive because like you got the Howard without Lainey. I was like, that woman is just she's magic.
She is phenomenal.
Is the only person I even today someone was like one publicist talk shit about a different publicist, but I've never heard anyone talk shit about Lainey Spicer. No. Goddamn angel.
No. And it's so funny. I was trying to get Lainey when I was really active in the industry. And she was like, no, I didn't get your email. So you were dodging me. She was like, no, I love you. No, I love you. She was like, no. So we've been rocking and rolling for almost 3 years now.
Killer.
Yeah.
So when you say when you were more active, are you less active in the industry?
Well, yeah, because I'm not performing on camera anymore. Yeah, so I call myself semi-retired because I still do other things. I'm still building the Naomi Banks brand, you know, with that. So that would never end.
It's a brand that involves like your nipple being out, which, by the way, can we just give me credit? I've been on phenomenal with icon.
You're supposed to be the nipple watcher today.
I mean, like, I'm not, hey, I'm not going to argue, but I just want credit for the amount of eye contact I maintained. Knowing it was there.
Also, that's why your eye was going up and down. I thought it was telling me to do something else.
Well, I also get nervous ticks, but then one time the nervous tick went this way, and then I was like, okay, there's a nipple there, but we're eye contact, Billy. I just want it known. Fucking professional. No, so what is the Naomi Banks brand that still involves AVN or the adult industry?
Yes, well, actually, because I sell sexy. Okay, that is what I do. I sell sexy. So actually, I was nominated for Intimate Seduction Lingerie, which is my lingerie line. I have 2 versions of it. I have the retail side of it, and I also have to where I do, I design, custom design for both men and women. And I was nominated for AVN as well as the XBiz Awards for 2 XBiz Awards for that as well. So that's, that's a part of the post hardcore.
That's part of the plan.
Yeah, that's part of the plan. I always walk around and say I'm a multi-billion-dollar industry. I'm a multi-billion-dollar company. Yeah. That's my worth. And in my worth, I got to show I'm just more than just sucking dick on camera or taking it up the ass. It's more layers to this onion. It's more pages to this book. It's just not the cover. Take time to read the pages of it. It's so many things that I have to offer. And it's just not that. So that is what I'm doing in my post-hardcore days, as well as, professional dominatrix. I do my clips to where, I'm more interactive with my fans. So it's a whole lot more.
so
I'm
you're
a
still shooting
writer.
clips?
Yeah, I'm still
But they're
shooting clips.
so what kind of clip? Like they're not scene like partnered scenes or
No, the
what are
only
they?
partner scenes that I do is when I'm doming
Gotcha.
someone.
Okay.
You will probably not see me doing hardcore unless I come back, and when I come back, I'll be just doing it for myself.
You're like,
You know?
I've just always wanted to fuck that particular performer, so
Yes.
I'm gonna come back to get that one.
Yes, for myself.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
When was the last time you shot hardcore porn or
Oh my God. Probably 6.5 years.
6.5 years ago?
Yes, it's been that long.
Wait, how long you been in the industry overall?
I've been in the industry for about 12, 13 years.
Okay. So 6 years. And so do you still like hit AVN also in part because like maybe your fans are the types that still go to AVN?
Yeah, but I stay in their face, like from
Yeah.
radio. Like I was on Playboy
show,
Radio
yeah.
for 3 or 4 years, and then I had my own radio station, that podcast. So I stay current and relevant in the industry. So I never went away. I just stopped shooting hardcore scenes.
Right. But you're still
Yeah.
around. You still doing the podcast?
Actually, I'm getting back to that. That's what I get. Yeah, Lainey been like, hurry up and come back.
Good
I took a
podcast.
hiatus to kind of concentrate on the intimate seduction, the lingerie line.
Yeah.
I did some fashion shows in New York and stuff like that. So kind of like getting that brand on, but I need to really get back because I miss it. I miss radio. I miss the podcast. I miss sitting here interviewing with people and finding out more about them. I love just even sitting here with you, conversating with you.
Yeah. Sitting here, mic or no mic, like just the connecting. Oh, so much fun.
Yeah.
Yesterday I did 5 episodes. Never did that before. That's
Whoa.
too much, possibly. But I woke up, 8 a.m. And I think I didn't eat anything all day until about 1:30 in the morning. So I literally didn't eat all day. Why? I was high from
Right.
connecting with people nonstop. I was just buzzing. I was just running off adrenaline.
And
It
you
was,
ca-
it was like, did you eat? I was like, I haven't eaten today at all. I'm just like, I'm full of joy because again, talk to people like
Yeah.
you.
And the thing is too, is like when I try to get away from it, like I always find myself coming back. Like this guy right here, like he has a new production company called Super Lover. And, my thing is I want to help him show exactly what he's trying to show, from him being a fan to now being a producer. Now him being a producer, it's like finding these new talents that, want to get into the industry and stuff like that. So it's all about that.
What was the podcast? I was just like talking to other.
It was called
stars?
Chocolate Radio.
Okay.
That's name is Chocolate Radio.
About food, right?
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's like because I'm chocolate. And it's like Chocolate Radio. But now I have a new thing that's called Inside Naomi.
Okay.
That I'm going to be on different sets like that with different people and talking. It's real raw and uncut.
Sure.
Getting to meet, a lot of the new fans, new performers and stuff like that, interviewing them as well as even people that I do personal sessions with. It's like getting to, finding out what their sexual interest is and why are they into BDSM or, whatever. So
Like your BDSM clients?
Yes.
What's great is you can just order them to do that.
Yeah,
It's like,
literally I do.
It's
Sit
like-
down, put on this mask, and we're gonna do this. But no, they're so free and open to do that. It kind of like a release that I'm able to sit here and talk to somebody, even though might nobody know who I am, but I'm able to voice that opinion and people all right. They even will watch themselves doing it too.
Did they get like a discount if they would do an episode of the podcast? No.
Just shut your ass.
I don't know. Some CEOs I don't want to be on a podcast. They're like, "Well, I'll take 20% off." I'd be like, "Yes, mistress."
This is not Walmart.
That's cool. Yeah, that sounds fun, and it sounds like you want to talk to people on sets and stuff. And that's an area of the world I think people want to see some more of.
And they do. They really do. I remember working at Playboy, and I was always saying the fans truly want to connect. They want to be on set in the real, in the real time, and they want to see, how the whole thing goes. And I remember, at that point in time, they were like, no, we can't allow that. But now they do it. Now everyone does it now. Sure. Now it's more of a reality-based type of thing.
It's all about really knowing this person, almost like a character.
Yeah.
So, but there's this pressure also then with social. It feels like I always got to be on.
Right.
It's like, I always got to let them in on a thing. I got to do this Instagram thing. I got to do this tweet. And then sometimes you kind of want to have a little corner of space of reality and time for yourself.
Yeah.
So I can avoid the burnout.
Yeah.
I'm curious, before we get going, is when you made the announcement, how did you make the announcement that you were going to stop shooting scenes, and how did people take that? Did you get a lot of bad blowback? Were they supportive? What was that experience?
You know,
like?
it was a mix of things because a lot of people say I left too early. That I wasn't, because I left in my prime. I left when I was on top, which I thought it was great that I left on top, but it was still a lot of things that I wasn't able to do, that I didn't do.
Yeah, it's like I saw what Michael Jordan did. It's like, we're not going to make that mistake again.
Yeah.
We're not going to come back to the Hornets or the Wizards or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, and the people begging me now, like, come back. Like,
oh, that never goes well.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. But I guess in that first year afterwards, I was still doing radio. But then after that, I did kind of get burned out. I literally did get burned out and kind of like, I can kind of come away from this, but I can't. It's a hard thing to come away, especially if it's something that you love. And it's not even about the sex, it's about the business and the relationships that you get from being in this industry.
How you keep the fans during that transitionary time, like how'd you keep the fans still in with your brand, even though they weren't going to get like the dick sucking scenes they were used to?
I sell them sexy.
Sure.
I made them fall in love with me.
but they fell in love with like you in this like pornographic state. Now you had to like kind of you kind of had to like wean them off of the hardcore into the loving the sexy.
You know what? This is the crazy thing is because now, and it's funny because there's a whole new fan base that's coming in now. It's a whole new fan base with the younger guys or whatever coming in that want to see me like that, but now they see me as goddess as well. So they have no choice but to respect me on it. You have a few that I don't want to see that. Okay, well, it's not for you.
Sure.
Then move on. But I've always been sexy and erotic in my hardcore. So they've always got that. You're just not getting the hardcore now. Sure. But you're still getting the sexy in the sexual, but you're not getting the hardcore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Wow, Naomi, I know you got to run to get to the booth. Where can people find you if they want to experience some more of the sexy?
Well, if they want to come see me sexy, go subscribe at my OnlyFans at I am Naomi Banks, and I'm going to spell Naomi Banks for you.
Oh, professional.
That's NYOMIBANXXX, as well as follow me on IG, and that's The Real Naomi Banks. Yeah.
Fantastic.
As well as go to my website, goddessnaomi.net.
Oh, Goddess. I personally can think of several listeners who are very active who are going to be like, yes, guys, like already they're on board. They're just like, I'm going to go and I'm into it. Thanks so much for talking to me. And why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody?
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed yourself in this interview. I had a great time. His ass is great. I love you, men whore.
Later. A lot going on in this week's show, everybody. A little bit of ranting, little bit of, comment thread reading, a lot of bit of Naomi Banks, and we even got to hear a bit from hotmovies.com. I thought that was a good show. I hope you did too. Let us know what you thought. I love, as you can tell by the amount of time that I spend reading emails and comments and such, I want to know what you think. Shoot me a tweet at @TheBillyPresida, or you can leave a comment on this week's episode on the Man Whore Podcast Facebook fan page. Those of y'all who are more familiar with my thirst traps, you probably already follow me on the Instagram at BillyIsPresida. But if you're not already, go follow me over there. Very active, doing the stories, doing all the things you want. Just reward me with those sweet, sweet double tap likes. And if you want to send me a comment, a question, your titty pictures, whatever, in a longer, more business-like format, you can send me an email at manwhorepod@gmail.com. New York City, gotta get your tickets, people. Go get your tickets right now to our live show on August 3rd on the Lower East Side. Go get your tickets right now at manwhorepod.com/tickets. Can't make it to ManwhoreCon, can't come out to the live show, don't live in New York City or anywhere close to it, you can still feel like a part of the action and get to know like-minded listeners in our private sex-positive discussion groups on Patreon. Become a member today at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Again, that's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Oh, I did promise you a little thing, right? I promised you a little something. Okay. Here's a clip to close us out from Andrea Allen's debut comedy EP, Gonzo. So enjoy some stand-up from what, for some of you, is your favorite Man Whore Podcast guest. stay slutty.
There's something else that happened that used to happen to me when I worked in an office that I hated even more. And that was getting hit on by weird old white guys that I worked with. Their lines are like knock-knock jokes, you know? It's so fucking ridiculous. There was this one guy, and he would always go, "Hey, Andrea, I'm married, but if I wasn't..." And I was like, "If you weren't..." What? I'd be sucking your fucking dick? What is the end of that sentence, Carl? Huh? Yes! I will sign for the package! And see you at the Christmas party! And meet your wife and daughter! Who is my age! Freak! Those old men, they gotta get off Instagram too. Stop commenting on my pictures past midnight. You're a father. It's over.